Good day, friends. Good day, humans. Interesting subject today. Well, not so new, yet quite renowned that we start using words of cryptocurrency. We start using Bitcoin. We start using Ethereum. We start using blockchain technologies and so on. In our daily vocabulary, not still fully comprehending, and I'm talking first-hand experience, what does it really mean? Why we're so excited about this new monetary system? Why nobody until this moment, until last, let's say 6, 7, 8 years, nobody had even an inclination that the dollar, euro, and the other fiat currencies will completely disintegrate down the road. They will not disappear overnight, yet they will just go into nothingness. And when something disappears, suddenly the empty space become available, so we fill this empty space with a new financial technology, which in this case is a blockchain, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the other cryptocurrency tools. So, title for today goes like this: Cryptocurrency, the only currency with truth agreement. What do I mean by that? Basically, all the previous currencies or the fiat currencies were not truthful. Yes, they put an agreement on top of it, like many other agreements that existing in this society, legal agreements, purchasing agreements, birth certificate agreements, strawman agreements, medical agreements, pharmaceutical agreements, scientific agreements, meaning scientific discoveries, and on and on. We have every aspect of our life is set in the agreement. Very rare ones, religious agreement, to miss the most important one. Very rarely these agreements are about truth, how these informations, how these parties who signed these agreements were both aware what they're signing, and the both sides were very conscious what the benefits this agreement will bring to them. Most of these financial agreements, the fiat currency agreements, were bringing benefit only to one party. In this case, I call it a third party. Not a consumer and not even a producer of the currency. But they set themselves in the middle as a third party, where they get all the benefits of total control and total manipulation of value of this currency, let's say US dollar. So, is this approach moral? We know that it's not so truthful, because many of us, or many of humans, become very exhausted, working endlessly day in, day out, to get pretty much nothing, because whatever they got, they have to spend on very unnecessary items, mostly going to the third-party beings or creatures, or third-party entities, because some of these entities are organizations. They're not even human beings or creatures that could benefit. So they're just placed there as a deception of our efforts that we get in agreement with somebody else. So you can simplify the approach when two people want to exchange goods, trade their own creations. One creates breads, the other one picks grapes from its own vineyards that he was investing a lot of his time and effort to bring it up. So to get these two together, we have so many factors or third-party slices in between. So one bread towards a kilo of grapes, it cannot be exchanged directly, or none of the trades could not be exchanged directly because we had money. We had at the present time, we had some form of evaluation how much this would cost. So if cost of the bread is $10, the real cost of the bread is not $10 because the value that the producer of the bread received is maybe $1. Where is this $9 goes? Goes to the third parties in between. So who's paying all this scam? The user. So what they're saying, kilo of grapes will cost to be purchased $1. And they're saying to the guys for the bread, oh, grapes are more valuable, needs more time and whatever, their assessment, and they said this will cost you $12. So they will get $11 in between as well, and they will sell it to the guy for $12. So for the guy, for bread guy, to get 1 kilo of grapes, he has to sell his bread tenfold, actually 11-fold. So works 10 times more, and just multiply this by many breads they has to create, or just to through the flow of time that somebody is working, this amounts become staggering. So we actually going into our debt every moment that we consume something, because all transactions are done not directly but very much indirectly, but very hidden, and it goes into like 10 different channels inside, and all these 10 channels are communicating and then taking their piece, they slice. You can call it taxes, you can call it delivery fees, you can call it production fees, green gases fees, whatever they're inventing, these are third-party creatures. So go back to money. Money to be used in this kind of system, it's absolute illusion. It's invention for us to be completely drowned into working endless hours, trying to steal from everybody around, trying to enslave as many people possible, so we can have some kind of decent exchange, so we can buy our BMWs or whatever we decide to, and the price would not matter because the actual production of this BMW is not $100,000, it's $10,000 real price. That these $10,000 were given to the workers, given to the companies who provided the material to build this. But the most valuable amount to create a car is human energy. Even if robotics are involved, there are humans who put such amounts of their energy to create these robots, to design them, to invent them. So this is the true value. Robot by itself cannot do anything. Computer by itself cannot do anything until you start putting your own full energy into this. So going back to cryptocurrency. The only moral approach to this financial scheme that we still live in, it's we get rid of third-party creatures, systems, infiltrators. So it's like there is a flow between A and B, and they want to exchange something. Doesn't matter. You call it token, you call it Bitcoin, you call it crap coin, whatever you want to call it. On the other side, you have a service, and service can be anything: reading, clicking, liking, sending, writing, anything. Just your interest in something that these guys have. You don't need many pokes into this a veil of communication between A and B, or producer and consumer. So when we start getting rid of all these little pokes going inside this tube of communication, we will get much cleaner funds. We'll get much more for the actual, we'll get much bigger value for the product that we're actually buying. And cryptocurrency is absolutely the same, because to produce $1 million costs nothing. They are just printed. But how this is distributed and how this is set up, that one bread can cost $10 or one BMW can cost $100,000, it's something that it doesn't really reflect a true value of the transaction. So is this ethical what these banks and these central banks and the Federal Bank and Royal Bank and all the other crapsters who were doing this for ages? Is this ethical approach? That we are not allowed to say, I want to have a direct communication between me and whoever I want to use their services. Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, and the blockchain allowing us to do this now. And we actually absolutely wiping clean all of these crapsters who are in the midst, like as a third party. And this is not third party one, it's like myriad of them. They're just sitting there and they're sucking our life energy. You heard a notion about Internet of Value. Bitcoin is a currency of value. Cryptocurrencies are currencies of true intrinsic value that one party created in communication with the computer, in relationship with their creativity, in their programming skills, and so on. So why would you give all of your efforts to somebody or many of these creatures who would suck you as much as they can? Many people decided, until the Bitcoin didn't arrive like full-blown, that they don't have a choice. They just have to work day in, day out until they drop dead, and they're in a huge debt. You think US 18-20 trillion now debt is real? Who owns this debt? Federal Reserve. Yet they are pretending that American people has to pay this debt to the Federal Reserve. How Federal Reserve created this debt or this fake value, as I just described before. They plugged in 100 different spots in between, and they're just charging interest on interest, interest on interest on interest. And it's never stopped since the day one that it's created. So to pay interest from the last year, you have to borrow again. Why have to borrow? Who creates this money? Who creates this frigging lying currency? They just invented. It's not created in per se, because nobody put any efforts except a couple of machines start printing in, and they make a decision, this is going to cost you that much, 9% interest or whatever. So interest on interest on interest is nothing else but a smoke screen, a fake illusionary act of Wizards of Oz, who are tiny little creatures behind a big veil that nobody can see who they really are, until the Bitcoin came. Now it's not a Bitcoin, it's a Bitcoin, Ethereum, blockchain, Litecoin, WorldCoin, Trump coin, and another 780 now different cryptocurrencies. They go directly from A to B in a millisecond with absolutely minimal fees, and you have your product. The most important, the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency will equalize the field between producer and consumer. Because when you're a consumer, you're actually encouraging producer to produce more. When you're a producer, you'll produce better product, so encourage the consumer to consume more. So when you see this, it's like two-way street and going with both different directions, yet they're kind of twisting, so you end up with truly a DNA for the relationship between consumers and producers. Equalization happens when we, as users of a Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, we are the ones actually who producing it. Because with our actions, with our daily engagement with the Bitcoin, we are increasing its value. Because we're putting our own energetics inside this system or inside this currency, and we're dealing directly with the one that we want to buy from, or that we want to gift to, and whatever we want to do. We don't lose like just a minimal instances, like 0.0102% of the for transaction fees. That's all. Not even worth mentioning, because when you start really doing transactions, that if you're transferring $10 from A to B, cost you that much. If you're transferring $10,000, cost you the same amount, because it's true value measured. So Bitcoin is the worst of the worst disruptors of all the fake systems. They engage in third-party manipulations, including financial, including medical, including science, including voting, including you cannot think. Insurance companies, including everybody who's a third-party entity. And they build, including governments, because you don't need a government to tell you how to govern yourself. You have a moral standards, very high moral standards, and this is the only thing you have to do. Respect your high moral standards, and you don't need to pay anybody else taxes or illusionary fees to tell you how to behave. Prisons will disappear. Judicial system will disappear as present time. Not maybe instantly, but it will just diminish until they completely become obsolete. Because nobody would need a stupid lawyer or advocates or judges to judge them for what they know if they did something wrong. They will go directly to the party that has suffered by your actions, and you will apologize, you will rectify them by payment, and it will be done through your goodwill, how much you want to reward them. That's all. This is where we're actually heading. Yet how and what kind of jumps and hoops we have to do, we'll see. I see absolutely amazing happenings. Amazing, that doesn't even reflect any of my long-term dreams. It's all packed in the last 2 years. The things are so exciting. I cannot tell you, did I foresee this? Not really. Yet I felt that I'm a part of it. You are a part of it. So once when we get true value of ourselves and our ethical and moral stance, nobody will be able to steal from you a single cent or a better Satoshi now, because we'll soon deal only in Satoshis.